Hey guys, what's up? I'm back and I wanted to do this video. I've been wanting to do this video for quite some time, and for one reason or another just wasn't able to put it together, time constraints, and the fact that I was asked not to put the video out. I believe enough time has went by, so wanted to talk about a few things. I got a whole bunch of stuff on the table here, quite a few things, and so I wanted to talk about those. But before I get this video started, I wanted to do a very special thank you out to a person who's fairly close to Skylanders and had a few things in their collection that she wanted to go to a new home, a good home, and what better place than to absorb some of those items into this collection. So without being very specific, I know you'll probably end up watching this video at some point in time, but Samantha, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I hope I do some of these figures justice. So, getting into the figures that are sitting here on the table, and there is quite a few, and I'll explain the reason why, and why I have some of them as far as the final version of the character itself, more as a reference point. So I'm hoping that I was on the fence about doing several different videos and explaining each of the characters, or just doing one massive collection. I don't do any customization or anything like that. If you follow the channel long enough, you've seen from the start, there's nothing wrong with customizations. There's some artists out there that are fantastic, and I've seen some really nice customization paintings and stuff like that of figures. But what this video is about is prototypes and variant chase figures. And so I wanted to shed a little bit of light on some of the characters and kind of like the origin of how they start and the process, and then the final version. So if you see any of the packaged versions there, it is the final version that was released. Now, chase variants will happen for several different reasons. In the very beginning, honestly, the chase variants were something that was really done just for the fans, and it was something fun to do. And whether you get a variant from an exclusive event, if you get it from such as a toy fair, you'll see some that are done because they are employee versions, holiday versions that are released to the employees. You'll see some that are done through promotions, like the Fredo Lay promotions, such as these hot dogs and the Halloween Fright Rider or Pumpkin Fright Rider, whichever you call it. Or the ones that are released out into the wild, like the translucent green characters from Swap Force, or if you look at the patina or rusty, however you want to call these variants of Shield Strutter, High Volt, Shield Striker, Eruptor, and Burn Cycle. So let's start off. I'm hoping that this video won't be too long, and if I don't touch on something on a particular character, you can ask. I won't get very specific on certain things. I'll just try to shed some light. Let's start off with the hot dogs. As you can see, there's several different, well, we have the purple metallic characters here, but you can see one of the, and these are all prototypes. None of these are painted by myself, or these are all molded characters, and I'll kind of get into that as you can see when I get over to the hot dogs. The reason why I have Shroom Boom out, I just wanted to show that a hot dog was done in that type of metallic green paint. It wasn't the end result of what you see here. And I have both of the versions. Both these characters are identically the same hot dog, whether it be the Gamescom edition or it be the E3 licensing show edition. They're both exactly the same character, the same paint job. These are actually two different paints that blend in together to make this character. But they're exactly the same. But as you can see, there was several different treatments that were tried on these characters. So there's 3, 4, 5, 7 different prototypes of this particular hot dog. what was interesting and funny, at least was what I was told, and I'll share some of the stories with you, was that the hot dog in this case, without the eyes, looked too demonic, and so it was not decided to do the character without the eyes themselves. As you can see, it goes through. That's the same exact. I brought him out because you have the color shift washbuckler, you have the metallic green gill grunt, and then the one was done with hot dog. But ultimately, it ended up not being the case, and they went with the treatment that you see the final result in the packaged. Moving on, you have Snowderdash. Now, I'm going to take some of these figures out, and you can see the final product of what the Employee Edition Snowderdash looked like. But if I take this character itself, and you can see this is well before any of the glitter or anything, you can see the base. If I show these bases, you can see the difference between the different levels or the different treatments on this one. I think this one came out actually really nice, but it was a real white snowy effect, and you can see that the base and the contrast of the bottom was a lot of a deep darker blue, and then of course more towards the final product was the more silvery glittery look of the characters right there in several different stages. Each character, one might turn out to be a longer process or step or decision, and you'll have several different treatments or takes on a character before the final product comes out. Now you'll have the Frito-Lay hot dog promotion, and as you can see, from what I was told, there is basically possibly 2, maybe 3 other sets that are out there. Originally, these sets right here, or this set right here, and it's very subjective. A lot of decision making on this is it's not as far as these particular colors. There was 5 different colors that were done with these figures, and the prototypes here, none of the prototypes on the table work except for the ones that are packaged. Those are the final version. But as you can see, you'll have the green, the red, and the purple, and those were the final 3 that made it to the complete product. Blue and orange was also on the table, and as you can see, and I'm going to bring these characters up, this is not a paint job. Those colors are actually molded, just like the other ones. They are molded into the character themselves. Now, what determined? It was very subjective. It was just really what colors looked the best. Red, green, and purple won out, and so blue and orange were scrapped. It's as simple as that. There was no real a back and forth about why those characters didn't make it. It was just the 3 that looked the best and contrasted well together. Halloween Fright Rider. If you can see him in the back, and I did accompany, if you searched out and chased the Frito-Lay promo bags, you can see that you actually had to obtain the bags and then try to win the character. And if you did, okay, if you did, then you would of course get the congratulations letter. But prior to the final product of how the Fright Rider looked, you can see that there was different treatments with this. And this prototype actually has Fright Rider black, as well as his spear, and then the base itself. And then this one, which was getting closer to the final product, just looked a little bit too punkin for the character itself. So they switched it up, and the final product ended up being more of a metallic orange, which you can see in the final character. All right, so now we come to Hot Streak. And as you can see, and whether you got these chase variants all happen for different reasons, like I said. You could have some that are released in the wild. You have some that are part of an event. What they started doing, if you could see, exclusive event edition, rather than getting very specific and saying that it was part of a a toy fair, a licensing show, E3, Gamescom, they started just saying exclusive event edition. So that way, no matter what, if this was originally handed out at E3, then let's say the next time they had an event, it still covered it by saying exclusive event edition rather than getting very specific, since this was handed out in different venues. But getting to the character itself, you can see that what the final product, of course, looked like for the event edition. Starting out, you can see that the character itself, and again, there is no, this is not working. This is, again, the prototype version of how the character looked. And you can see the red being a little bit deeper, darker as the next version, how they switched it up. If you can see that it was a different form and they blended in the yellow and then the red. And then ultimately the glitter paint into the toy itself just looked phenomenal. And of course that won out with the glitter being mixed and molded in with the paint. And then to add even more contrast, the final version was, of course, the black was added to the mufflers in the front portion, making it really pop and stand out visually. All right. So next characters, we have the translucent green, and as you can see, different stages in this process, treatment, you can see the first version of the characters did not have their eyes. Then the next round, they had the eyes. If you can see, Riptide actually has a more clearer white eye base versus Scorp, which had a tint of green inside the eye. And look at a version of Chop Chop. First he had the no eye version, of course, and then you can see that he had this type, which is similar to the packaging type. It just didn't seem like it contrasted well, and so ultimately with the other characters having the blacked out eyes, Chop Chop's final version ended up having just the two black eyes. All right, I don't have the reference point. I have her, of course, if you've seen it in other videos. This is Heavy Duty Sprocket. Now, Heavy Duty Sprocket went through a variation of treatments before it finally came down to the final version, this one being the closest to it. But as you can see, being the tech element, you have the original base. Now, the only thing that happened with these particular prototypes was the fact that several different types of army green were used, and they just wanted to see which ones actually contrasted better. So again, very subjective, but you can see that it actually, Sprocket is actually a tint of green if you can see it blended in with a silver. I actually like the silver a lot better. So they ended up, this was a lighter shade of green with the tank, didn't seem like it contrasted very well, and ultimately it ended up being closer to a darker green tank, her matching the base being silver. Okay, so over there we have, of course, the patina characters for superchargers. And what's very interesting is, you've heard me talk about this in other videos, and typically we have a release of 3. There'd be 3 different characters. Unfortunately, and this is only 90% confirmation, it looks like there will only be these 2 characters. Now, I say 90% because you never know. I mean, if you take something like Crystal Whirlwind or Red Camo, and later on, magically they appear. Now, we all know those were done through a different type of promotion that had them available through the LG promotion. But they were hitting as a Skylanders Adventure, which was the first series, and we were well into Game 3 before there was really serious talk about those being variant characters. Here I have, and I'll talk a little bit about these prototypes here. These are actual various stages, and believe it or not, these could have been a released product. Now, ultimately, the decision was scrapped because these particular characters just look more like an unfinished product. But if you remember the Flocked, I have both a a whiter flocked Fredo and a gray flocked Fredo. And this is just a molded character base. And so it basically, like I said, it was deemed or not produced, if you will, just because it looked too much like an unfinished product, unlike the flocked Springtime Trigger Happy. Now back here, and I know a lot of people will start saying, oh my God, we figured out, there it is, that is number 3 of the characters that are going to be released. Truth be told, and these are actually molded, the prototypes themselves are not even the character. And as you can see, these were different levels and stages. There's not even the base, this is just the molded character. But this was, if you will, like level 1, 2, and 3, or A, B, and C. And as you can see, these are of Gilgrunt. Now, the question would be, is he possibly the next and third or final character coming out to be the addition of the Shield Striker, High Volt, Eruptor, and Burn Cycle? And the answer is that he was actually the first character that had this treatment on him. So it was just decided that this character, or that coloring, would be better suited and fitted for the 2 characters you've seen there. So will he be released? Will Gilgrunt get that statue treatment? Only time will tell. I say 90%, because months from now, who knows, there could be a statue Gilgrunt. But I can honestly say these are molded figures that show him. And as you can see, the base, again, this was the final or closer to the ones that we have back there. As you can see, the patina or rusted color to him. And then, of course, the final version, which ended up having the see-through of the water jetting out of the back. So anyways, guys, wanted to shed some light on the variant process. I chase the variants, of course, and I don't dabble into prototypes as much, but this was a no-brainer for me to take some of these characters that had the variant process and then take the prototypes themselves. These prototypes do not stay with the collection. They are in a separate part of the collection themselves. I have more prototypes or various other ones, some that I've shown in videos. So I just keep them separated. And when I do the full blown out video of the entire collection of everything, I'm trying to do some videos where I kind of explain and show some stuff, so that way as I'm walking through and doing the full blown collection, I won't spend a lot of time discussing them because they've already been discussed or talked about in a previous video. Okay? Alright guys, hope I shed some light on a few things. The process, the treatment, the variations, the characters. This was a pretty long video, so in some of the next videos I have something hanging up in the wall. I said I'd talk about the card collecting. I know I've done a QB video in the past. I don't know if I ever finished out some of those videos showing the ultimate completed collection of the sets. So I might take a few of those things that I have over there and just talk about them, whether they be the danglers, the slap bands, the dog tags, the cards, or the QB set. Anyways, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next video.